Good day folks, Sean here from Air Photography. So I've been working on a series of videos for those who are brand new to the Mini 5 Pro to get them familiarized with some of the features and capabilities of the drone. The other day I uploaded a video, a beginner's guide or tutorial I guess you could say, on how to create waypoint missions. And in today's video we're going to be taking a look at an intelligent flight mode called FocusTrack. And in my opinion it's a really important one. It's probably one that I use the most out of all the intelligent flight features. And it's a really powerful tool. You can do a lot with it. So I've got my Mini 5 Pro up in the air, and what we're going to do is take a look at it, and I'll demonstrate everything that it is capable of doing. So I'm just going to fly over here a little bit, and we'll find something of interest. Maybe we'll just film these trees here. The nice fall colors are coming out. So FocusTrack is a series of 3 tools built into one tool, and we can initiate it in a couple different ways. The first and easiest way is just by selecting the subject on the screen, and it can be a person, it can be a vehicle, it can be a building, pretty well anything you're able to select. For example, I'm going to draw a box around these trees here. And you can see when I drew the box, we get this green box there, and it gives us 3 tools there at the bottom. I'm going to bring it back up again. You can see we have ActiveTrack, Spotlight, and point of interest. By default, Spotlight is always going to be the first thing selected. And we could switch back and forth between the tools just by tapping on them. But we're going to start with Spotlight. Now, Spotlight allows you to lock onto a subject, and it can be a moving subject or a stationary subject, and it basically keeps the drone camera locked onto that subject. And it can be really useful. It can allow you to get some really smooth dynamic moves. So for example, we have those trees selected, but I can fly to the side, and you can see as I'm flying, the camera is staying locked right onto the subject. And we can add other inputs as well. For example, I can fly back and up, and as you can see, the camera is staying completely locked on. So it allows you to get some really interesting shots of a subject, and it remains nice and smooth. So it's a really powerful tool, and it can allow you to get some really nice shots. Now you'll notice there, as I was flying around, that box went to a smaller box with a little icon in it, kind of like a GPS icon. That means it's just got a more accurate lock. It's a good idea when you do draw a box around a subject, move the drone around a little bit until you get that icon there, and then you know it's going to have a good decent lock and it's not going to drift around at all. So when you're done filming, all you have to do is tap on that X there, and that's going to close it down. Now I'm going to get closer to this road here, because the other thing we can do with Spotlight is select a moving subject. Now it's not going to track the subject per se. That's what we would use ActiveTrack for, but it allows you to stay locked onto a moving subject and can get you some really interesting shots as well. So let's find a car that's not moving too fast. And one thing you'll notice right away, see how that little box came up? That little plus sign? When the drone detects something that it can track, it's going to put those plus signs, and we can technically just tap on one of them, and you can see it automatically started tracking. So let's close that. Let's select this one here. You can see it locks on. And what you're noticing there is that the drone itself is not flying. It's just going to rotate. It's going to stay in the exact same spot, but just keep that subject locked on the screen. Now I can manually fly. I could follow them manually using the sticks. With Spotlight, you can track a moving subject, but the drone is not going to move. It's just going to keep it locked in the center of the screen, and the drone will just rotate around to keep it centered. Now, as mentioned, I can fly the drone. As you can see here, I'm now moving it manually, but it's still going to keep it locked in the center of the screen. So let's go back over to these trees here, and I'll demonstrate the next tool, which is point of interest, which again is a powerful tool. Maybe we'll go to about here. Again, I'm going to select the trees just by drawing a box on them. And again, our FocusTrack tool comes up, but this time we're going to select point of interest. And you can see we have an arrow there going in both directions. So we can drag that slider over. And as you're going to notice, the drone is going to start moving. It's going to stay locked on that subject that we have selected, but it's going to rotate. And depending on how far we move that slider, you can see now it's slowed right down, or we can put it all the way up and it's going to move a lot faster. And just like before, you're going to notice here in a minute, we're going to get that little GPS icon once it has a good solid lock. And it will just keep rotating indefinitely until the battery dies using this method. And there we go there, you can see it's got the lock. And we can spin it the other way. Again, it's a really simple way to get nice smooth shots of a subject, something of a point of interest. And the other thing you can do while it's doing its point of interest rotation, you can actually make some movements. So we can raise the altitude. As you can see here, I can push up on the altitude and it's going to raise up. Let me put it into normal so it goes a little faster. And I can lower the altitude. And I can push the drone in. I can bring it closer to the subject. Or we could pull away if we wanted. When you're done, all you have to do is hit stop, and it's going to go ahead and stop. And to get right out of it, again, we just press that X. Now the final tool is something called ActiveTrack, and it's a really powerful tool as well for tracking yourself or tracking any type of moving subject. Unlike Spotlight, when you have ActiveTrack selected, the drone is actually going to follow around and follow the subject. So let's go back to the highway here, and I'm going to show you other examples too. When I was on a bike, it'll be a little bit easier to demonstrate, but I'll just show you here how to select a subject. Now, just like before, we could draw a box around any of those moving subjects, but the easier way to get the little plus signs to come up so you can easily select a moving object is by pressing this button here. It's a square with a little circle in it, a little dot in it, I should say. And that's going to turn on the FocusTrack tool where we can select objects. As you can see there, we'll get in a little bit closer. So it's going to automatically pick up all these vehicles now, and we can just tap on them. But this time we're going to select ActiveTrack.
After subject starts moving, aircraft will fly to set direction.
And as you can see there, it's locked onto that subject, and it's now following it along. But I'm going to stop that because I don't want to go too far. So as mentioned, ActiveTrack, unlike when we were using Spotlight, will lock onto the vehicle, but instead of just rotating to stay locked onto the subject, it will stay locked on, but it will fly along with it as well. Now, while the drone's flying, it's going to be using its obstacle avoidance sensors to help avoid obstacles, but you do have to be very careful because obstacle avoidance is not a perfect thing. Now, ActiveTrack is a really smart tool. There's a lot of different settings and capabilities. For example, if we were going to be tracking something, it can detect whether we're tracking a person, or perhaps if we're tracking ourselves on a bike, and it's going to adjust the flight parameters accordingly. It might be a little more responsive for certain situations and a little smoother for others. As you can see here, when I'm selecting myself while I'm riding a bike, it has a little bike icon signifying that we're in the bike activity. And the tools that come up while you're using ActiveTrack are quite powerful as well. We have two options. We can have it in auto or in manual. When you have auto selected, you don't really have to do anything with the controller. It's going to try and frame everything nicely. The drone is going to automatically move around throughout the tracking sequence. So it might follow you from the side, it might fly over to the other side, follow you from behind. It might even try and get out in front of you a little bit. It's going to constantly make decisions depending on the environment and try and come up with something that looks aesthetically pleasing. And for the most part, it works quite well. The other thing you can do is manual tracking. With it, you are in control of where the drone is tracking you from. You can see in the tool, we have two rings, and we can drag the drone to the front of us or to the side of us just by dragging that marker around. Every time we drag the marker around, the drone is going to move into that position while it's tracking. And we have an inner ring and an outer ring. The inner ring, if we drag it to the inner ring, the drone is going to follow you a little closer. And if we drag it to the outer ring, the drone is going to push back a little bit and get a wider shot. So it is a really handy tool and it works extremely well. Now again, you have to be very careful with obstacles. Although it will detect most obstacles, there are certain things like tree branches, really thin tree branches, some wires. So if you're going to be tracking yourself on a bike or walking around trees, you do have to be very careful and be prepared to stop it. Now on top of that, there are some settings we can adjust for ActiveTrack. We go into the settings there are some options we can change on the behavior of how far it follows, the distance, and all of that. So yeah, that's a quick look at FocusTrack. It's a really powerful tool. As a beginner, it can be a little overwhelming trying to learn all the capabilities of the Mini 5 Pro, but DJI has done a really good job making it intuitive and something that's really easy to learn. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and found it had value. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.